Hello, and welcome back to The Sweet Spot. This week's episode is not going to be super tactical, but it is going to give you some guidance into how to rank for AI SEO. On a side note, I do feel like we are moving to a more non-dominant search world. I feel like we are getting to the point where whoever has the most phones, that's who's going to win the search, because I know that there's been talk of Google sort of going away in the way that it is, right? Like you have Perplexity, you have Claude, you have all these different ones. So I do think that we have to be prepared for making some changes to our website. However, I'm hoping that this episode will give you a little bit of comfort in how to do that.
Welcome to the Small Business Sweet Spot. I'm Barb Davids, and I'm here to help you get more website traffic and leads with simple, actionable SEO and content strategies. In each episode, I share tips and tactics and talk with other business owners who help us grow both in our business and in life. I'm so glad you're here.
I think it's important to understand also that as it sits right now, the AI overviews that you see in Google or the information that you find in Perplexity or Claude or whatever, those are actually coming from other sources. They are coming from your website. They are coming from search results. So the content still needs to be out there. We still need to keep creating content. So that is not changing. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit, of course, about AI SEO. And then I'm going to dive into, because that's what you're here for, I'm going to start with that. And then you can skip out on the episode if you want. The rest of it is going to be different types of SEOs, just to give some like clarity or like some bigger picture to see how it is, because I feel like there's been a lot of different types of SEO talked about. And so that way I can touch a little bit on what each one is. So first of all, the difference between traditional SEO and AI SEO. So traditional SEO, I think of this like as if somebody were to give you a recipe for a vanilla cupcake, just the cake. So that is traditional SEO. AI SEO is something like somebody giving you a recipe for the vanilla cupcake and the frosting, the instructions on how to do it, and even some personalization on like what kind of sprinkles to add or what kind of frosting to add. So it gives you like all the information that you could find in one fell swoop. And as I mentioned before a little bit, the answers that it's giving right now are synthesized from mostly existing search engine results and websites that are out on the web. Of course, we don't ever know the exact things that people are doing, or the tools that they're using to make or have the website show up. We don't know those algorithms specifically. We can infer a lot, especially with Google, and a lot of people in the industry have like their take on them, but we don't know exactly how they're pulling. So there isn't any one thing specifically to do to show up in AI. So what can we do to help us get our websites to show up more in AI overviews or Perplexity or other tools? Keep doing traditional SEO, but add some sprinkles to your content. See how I did that? So here's what I'm thinking. Ensure that your content is a little bit more conversational. So instead of just doing one strict keyword per page, think of it as overlapping content and adding more to it. So maybe here's an idea, like taking it with, like if you're in a conversation and you start talking about one thing and then you're going to go off on a tangent and you're like, oh my gosh, how did I get on this? Kind of like those extra phrases and those extra topics that might come into play when you're talking about a certain content, a certain piece of topic. But I wouldn't say go overboard. I probably have mentioned this before. If you've heard an earlier one about blog posts and how to optimize them, don't go into like the background of everything every single time. And sometimes you might overlap topics, so you might have to like rephrase them or reword them, but just adding some of those extra layers, add those sprinkles to your content so that it gives more context and answers more of the questions. So that's the really high level overview. And I know that's not sexy. I wish I had a better answer to say, hey, here's all the things you can do, but it's really not that complicated. It's more of a keep doing what you're doing with your traditional SEO, think more intent versus any like specific tangible thing you can do to your page to make that happen. So I do have like if you go to the show notes, there's a link to the blog post. There is what do I want to call it? A table that's in there with specifics for a little bit more detailed answer if you want to go into it more detailed. If you want to see that, it's there for you. But that is the summary of the whole table combined. All right, so let's get into the different types of SEO. And then, we'll go into the takeaway. Okay, e-commerce SEO. This is optimizing websites so that they sell something. That's the difference with e-commerce. It's specific to e-commerce with like shopping carts and SSL certificates and making sure that it's very secure for the user. There's product SEO. That is a subset of e-commerce where that just focuses on product pages specifically. Image SEO. This is optimizing images so that they can be found in Google image results. Social media SEO, as you might gather so far, is about optimizing your post for social media. So this is things like the title, if there's a headline for the social media post, descriptions, and on some of them, even the image alternative text. There is local SEO, so things like Google Business Profile, and then also doing some things on your website that make it like local specific, like if you went to have coffee somewhere and mentioning like the street names. Those are prime examples of local SEO.
Brief side note here. If your SEO feels overwhelming and like a whole different language and you want more traffic and leads, then my SEO Power Up plan is for you. It's a free service designed to show you the traffic you're missing out on and how that missed traffic translates to sales. You'll get a clear look at what's working, what's not, and where you can focus for better SEO results. Head to the link in the show notes to get your free SEO Power Up plan.
All right, let's jump back to the episode. Mobile SEO. So I have never really quite understood this one myself because mobile SEO, I guess, let me take that back. A long time ago, it made a difference because mobile SEO was that you had to create a whole nother website to make it go fast on the phones as opposed to desktop. But these days, there's really not a difference between mobile and desktop because we're all just doing the website and making sure that it's fast as possible. So even though that phrase is still out there, I feel like it's kind of antiquated and not necessarily a thing anymore. We also have technical SEO. Okay, so these are, those free audits that keep getting thrown in your face. That is these. So this is a list of things that you might need to fix on your website that is more on the back end and things that you can't see on the front end of your website. And then we have on-page SEO. These are very closely related to technical SEO, but it's also more about like the content and the headlines and like things you can do on the page, even content-wise, not just technically, that help it be optimized for search. And then we have off-page SEO. Here's another phrase. Never understood it because I feel like off-page SEO really is about content marketing. Off-page SEO is defined as getting more backlinks and sites and mentions, things that happen off your website to get people back to your website organically. And I figure that's just marketing. But nevertheless, it's a term out there in case you hear it. Then there's YouTube SEO, things that you would optimize for your videos that you place on your YouTube channel. International SEO, attracting traffic to your website for a specific country. So there's things that you can do for your website. If you are, let's say, in Australia and you want more Australia traffic than you do, say, United States traffic. And then finally, we have voice SEO. And I don't think this was supposed to be like a thing 5 years ago. I still haven't heard a lot about it, even in the industry. I think it's more probably because for like you and me and our websites, we don't necessarily get searched in voice search for things of our services. So it's really kind of a non-issue as far as I'm concerned for our websites. So here's the takeaway. SEO isn't just about pulling a 360 every time you hear a new term. So please find some comfort in the idea that there's nothing that you need to do right this very second to be in AI SEO. What it really comes down to is understanding the principles behind how you create your content and building it out so that it's credible for your audience and trustworthy and that it's helping your audience. So that core principle still stands. And that wraps up this episode. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Stay tuned for more episodes to help your business thrive online. We'll see you in the next sweet spot. Virtual high five.
Thank you for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you're looking for SEO and content marketing help, you can find all kinds of information at compassdigitalstrategies.com. And if you like the episode, please tell a friend. Cheers.